going to come back and they're going to check for supply. So these people that were buying here and that were selling here, they want to pick up all these shares again. They don't want to leave anything on the table. So they're going to dip down and they're obviously going to come below your big volume back here. They have to come below it because that is where trend followers are going to set their levels. Everyone, look, support and resistance, this is universally known. Everyone's going to set their levels there. So they're going to set their levels right here at this low. So guess what? You're going to pop that low because if there's shares sitting there, you want to grab them. And then you'll redo it one more time and you'll check volume again. As you can see on that the oil test, as I call it, you had volume far below average in the NASDAQ. And that's when we took off. I don't know that I called this to the day, but it would have been pretty darn close. But as for right now and evaluating this NASDAQ, we're good to go. We have nothing to really look at. There's nothing to report. Nothing scary, nothing amazing. You had a breakout, so obviously you're going to come back into this section. And then I'll show you as we zoom in what you might do to know exactly how far into that previous high you might come. So here we go. We're going to shoot down to a daily. Is there anything on this daily? I would say this daily chart is the most boring thing I've ever seen. I would not play with this typically at all. But as we just saw, there's things to be excited about, right? We see that there's big buying back there. We just had some pretty big buying at the previous low. And then what you see that's interesting here is you see this big gap right here. This is how we pop through to the new highs. So when you have a gap, you're going to fill that gap on an index well over 90% of the time. And when you fill that gap, depending on how high it went from the gap and how long it sat there, that's usually how far it will fill the gap. Like it'll fill the gap and how far it will come through. In this particular case, it took off back in November, right? And here we sit in May, and we are now at these high levels for 8 to 9 weeks. That's a long time at the top. So this is a lot of selling going on in here. This is a lot of selling. So where are we going to end up? We're coming down. We're coming down here somewhere. So as we zoom in, we can make an analysis. We can see what is happening. Okay, so we know we're good on a macro scale. We know we're good even when we zoom in a bit. But as we zoom in further, we can see where price was pushed through a level that it should have naturally exceeded. There shouldn't be a gap there. Price should have pushed through that level naturally. It didn't have enough power to do so, which means there will be a search for more supply. They will go down and see if there's more shares. Do we need to zoom in anymore on the NASDAQ? For the purposes of Google, no, we do not. Is the NASDAQ a headwind? I guess that depends on your time frame. If your time frame is very long, meaning you make, a trade every time you rebalance or trade your portfolio when you believe there's a very large bear coming, like the one that showed up in 21, something like that. No, you don't have to fear that at all. If you're somewhat active and you like to miss those small bears, we have one every 4 years. So, markets rise 75% of the time and they fall 25%. If you like to avoid that 25%, are you making moves right now? Absolutely. You absolutely are, without a doubt. So let's go ahead. We'll evaluate Google first here. And I'm going to do this pretty quick, but I wanted you to have an idea of how I do this and what I do. Mind you, this is 25 years of experience. I'm moving very fast. Some of the things I'm seeing, you may go, oh, I see that. And some you may say, I don't really see that. With a little work, you most definitely would. So let's go ahead and get to Google. I don't care what you're looking at. If you don't start with the largest time frame that you can, you're doing it wrong. There is no possible way to know where something's going without knowing where it's been. So here we are at Google. All right, let's go. That's all of it. That's all of it. So this initial volume, we're going to go ahead and ignore. This is your 2020 volume. So this is really the only event that we can show on a Google chart. And are we having an event right now with Google? Is there a changing of the guard? I posted changing of the guard. That was meant for a long-term scenario with Google and AI because this chat GPT is absolutely amazing. I love using it so much faster than any Google search. As far as Google as a search engine, it is absolute trash right now. If you're still using it, you got to go use chat GPT. I mean, it is so fast. You get all the information brought right to you.